What's up, track and field fans? It is August 10th. That means day 10.
Jesus Christ.
Day 9 of track and field is in the books. It just turned into day 10. It is just after midnight here in Paris. Citius Mag, live from Paris. Torch Talk, presented by A6. And another fun night of action at the Stade de France. We're at the point now where it's all finals. So medals are getting handed out left and right. We had the women's 100-meter hurdles. Women's 4x1. I can't read right now. Women's shot put. The men's 4x1. Women's 400. Men's triple jump. Women's 800. Women's 10,000. And then the men's 400 hurdles, which was my absolute favorite event of the day.
I know. I think we have gotten the best pictures of the week out of the men's 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah. All right, so let's start there. Men's 400-meter hurdles was absolutely epic because the one and only Rai Benjamin, we're very clearly homers for Rai Benjamin.
Obviously.
Ends up getting his gold medal, long awaited, since breaking the world record in Tokyo, but then still getting beat by Karsten Warholm.
He doesn't want to relive that.
This has been a long time coming. Unfortunately for him, 2022 injured, 2023 injured, both times still has ended up with medals. And now fully healthy, fully fit, comes in undefeated, stays undefeated, 46-46 for the win. Karsten Warholm, second place, 47.06. Alison Dos Santos, 47.26. Those were the major players that we've been hyping up all year. And they, in a way, I think the race delivered in the fact that it was close among, the top four guys. We even had Clément Ducos from France getting the Parisian push, but not quite enough to get onto the podium. And it just, there were mistakes made by everyone in this race. It wasn't perfect it was in Tokyo. And Rai ends up winning by a solid margin. It was so awesome to see.
It was, first of all, I think when I was watching the race, I think we had a similar situation of Sid and Femke, where I feel like Karsten was not trying to run Karsten's race. Karsten was trying to run Rai's race, because I feel like Karsten probably understood that out of the three of them this year, Rai is just he's him. You're going to have to work to beat Rai Benjamin this year. It's not as easy for Karsten as it's been in years past. And I think this was the first time where Karsten was probably okay, I might have a little bit of nerves in terms of actually having to work to beat this guy. So we saw a very similar race pattern today as we did with Femke and Sydney. Yesterday, we're the both of them were I'm going to take it out and we're going to see what happens. Now, granted, Karsten is the individual who likes to take it out, but I think there was just something about the aura and the stride pattern and stuff like that. When I was looking at Karsten, I'm this doesn't really look like you. It looks like you're trying to be like Rai because you know that Rai is slightly better than you this season. And I think that's kind of what tripped Karsten up, because we already know the 400-meter hurdles is definitely a lot about rhythm. And because I feel like Karsten wasn't necessarily running his own race, when they came off that hurdle that was right off the bend, as soon as he lost that rhythm, it was over. Because honestly, I think Karsten had enough in him to possibly beat Rai. I still had Rai all day long, but I think it still would have been a lot closer race if Karsten didn't lose his rhythm over, that hurdle coming over that last turn. So when it went into the straightaway, once Rai saw that Karsten was no longer in his viewpoint, he was there's absolutely no way in hell that anybody's catching me, and I'm just going to bring it home. So it was definitely a lot of fun to watch, because obviously Rai has been working for this for such a long time. It wasn't a world record, but it was still one of the fastest times of all times. I think we're just a little bit spoiled that we probably weren't oh my God, he ran one of the top 10 times all time, blah, blah, blah. And it's nah, bro, what he did was still crazy. It's just wild that Alison and Karsten weren't able to be up there with him. And then I would say big props to Alison as well, because listen, he almost didn't make that final.
Yeah.
So one of my friends actually, because as y'all know, I've been predicting a lot of wins this week, okay? And so I was joking on my Instagram's like, let me do y'all parlays, blah, blah, blah. And then people was actually reaching out to me, and I'm like, y'all, this is a joke. Like, I be guessing. I just be getting it right. And so my friend...
Don't take any gambling advice from Caitlin. I'm just guessing.
Do not take any gambling advice from me. So my friend, she texts me, and she's like, so tell me, like, I need your picks for every single race. I'm like, are you being serious? She's like, I'm being so dead ass. And then she ended up losing like $40 over like the course of the night. But then I was telling her about the 400-meter hurdles. I said, Rai's definitely going to win. Alison and Karsten will definitely be on the podium, but I can't tell you the order of those two because there's a possibility that Alison won't be on the podium because he looked the hot mess during the semifinals. But, he ended up making it happen. I get a screenshot from her, and she made $298 off of that. And I said, you go, girl. Still, don't ever take no more betting advice from me because you lost $40 before you got that $300. But regardless, I just think it was a really nice race. Like I said, I think if Karsten would have kind of stayed in his own lane and like his own like headspace, then like it definitely would have been closer. But I think Rai was destined to win this from the start of the season, even though his season started at like Olympic trials a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, 46-46 equals the time that he ran at the Olympic trials. For Rai in particular, I was there in the mix zone afterwards when he came by, and it was sweet because this whole swarm of reporters join around, and I guess like in that moment I have to be a reporter, but
not the Big J thinking cat.
But then he's like front and center with me, and he just goes, Chris, and then like high fives me, and I said, congratulations, man, you did it, and then immediately like someone else jumped in with like a question, but it was nice to have even that sort of like that acknowledgement. I did get like 2 questions in, including sort of like for him, there's a photo we have, and Matt could probably pull it up if you're watching on screen, of him just screaming after the race, just pure exultation. Like that was, and I was curious, and I said to him, I was like, what was the emotion that was pouring out of you in that moment? So I'm pulling up the quote right now because it was awesome. He said, I finally got it done. To do it in front of my mom and my dad and my aunts and uncles and my friends from LA, that one was for them. I wish he said like, and for New York, but okay, he's an LA boy now. That one was for them, man. This meet was proving myself right and proving everyone on the internet wrong. What are they gonna say now? I did it. And so
the crazy thing is that like I feel like Rai's in a similar situation as Grant. Like nobody hates you.
There's you have no major haters, doubters, but like there are people out there who obviously like Karsten Warholm at the end of the day, even after this race, is still the world record holder. Like there's a ton of respect for that guy. And I love watching, the 3 of these stars go head to head. It just so happens like this is Rai's year. And we've been waiting for that to be the case for a while now. Now, the last 3 years, we've seen at the Global Championships a different champion. And so in a similar way to the 1500, where the champion just keeps changing each time out, that's the beauty of the sport, I think, is that, now you have these guys, they have the gold medal, and it makes it more interesting when they have to defend it. And the people who had it and then don't defend it want it back. And so we're going to be treated to that in the 400 hurdles for especially next year. But for now, like this was Rai's year. It was just a long time coming. As to how the race actually played out for him, he said that, and if you go back and rewatch it, like the mistakes for him came after hurdle 7 and 8, where
that's where everybody fell off, though.
Everyone, yeah. He kind of knew that he had Karsten, I think, by hurdle 5. Like it's incredible, honestly, that he could pick up on sounds from that race, given how loud that stadium is with 80,000 people. Plus, you had a Parisian in that race, or Frenchman, I guess. I didn't know if he was from Paris. But yeah, so he landed awkwardly. He's like, please don't fall. Then he's like, he had to reach for 10, switch legs. And at that point, he's like, please just don't get walked down. And then about 5 meters before the line, I'm like, oh shit, I got it. It wasn't particularly the quickest, but we got it done, and that was the focus for me coming in. Which is wild
because like that's still one of the fastest times of like all time.
Yeah.
Man, it's okay. Rai Benjamin, you are him.
Yeah. And then last thing on sort of Rai, as 2 days ago on the podcast, I said something about like he's the spark plug to Team USA's success so far this games. And everyone is just kind of like all the videos that he's posted on his stories have been of him cheering on other people. I'd love to, probably go back and see like who's got a really cool Instagram story up right now of those people returning the favor and watching him, because this whole entire time it's been like each night out, like he's waiting for his turn. Tonight he got his turn and he got it done. And so yeah, he said he had a good I had a good conversation with Kenneth Rooks. I was like, yo, dog, I'll keep that motherfucker hot for you when you go out there. And he did exactly that. So I'm just instilling the belief and confidence in everyone else and knowing that this is an individual sport, but we're here as a team. And whoever sets the tone first, everyone will subconsciously feed off of that.
Well,
unofficial Captain America.
Unofficial Captain America. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right. So Rai Benjamin gets his golden moment, and I hope that just like when the Yankees win the World Series, which hasn't happened since 2009, there's a parade down Fifth Avenue.
The Cubs.
No, the Cubs have won more recently.
Yeah, but we were
108 years.
Yeah.
Same thing, Matthew Centrowitz. But yeah, we get the parade down the Canyon of Heroes, Fifth Avenue, and I hope that they do that for Rai Benjamin. I'll throw the parade. I want him to. It was right after the Tokyo Olympics. He had that famous tweet about walking into the bodega.
Yeah.
And they didn't recognize. They were like, "Oh, did you watch that guy who was really cool?" And it was him. So I want him to go back to that. But this would be a very sick, fun Sidious Mag video to make. We go back to the bodega with the gold medal.
And be like, do you remember me?
And the guy's probably like, I didn't watch this year.
I actually don't remember me saying that to you at all.
It's like, I think you're talking about my boss.
Yeah.
Like, new kid is working there or whatever. All right, let's talk some relays. Because we had some glory and some heartbreak in this one. And it started off with the women's 4x1. This is what the evening session started off with. And Team USA stuck with their cast of all-stars. You had Melissa Jefferson, TeeTee Terry, Gabby Thomas, and Sha'Carri Richardson. And again, it wasn't the perfect race. Like, there still were a little bit of issues between the handoff. I believe it was between Gabby and Sha'Carri again.
That was a pretty rough handoff between the both of them.
Yeah, which is the same thing that happened in the first round. But the person who really made this race, and if you go and look at all these splits, it's very interesting how it all played out, because the United States had to come from behind on this one. Dina Asher-Smith got out so hot. She split 11:02 out of the blocks. Melissa Jefferson did her thing with 11:46, but we're still behind even Germany, 11:35. The MVP, yes, you have two really good moments in this race. You have Sha'Carri Richardson, iconic sort of, running down the German sprinter. It was Daryl Nita, right? Yeah. It was both Daryl Nita and the German sprinter.
But Daryl Nita needs a lot of props too, because Daryl was about to walk Sha'Carri down.
Yeah, but then Sha'Carri does the look over, makes up the ground, crosses the finish line, and that's obviously like what is blowing up on social media. Very easy for like SportsCenter, ESPN to push that out there and be like, look at how awesome this moment was. The real MVP of this one, TeeTee Terry, 998 on the second leg, I think.
But that's not a surprise though. It's gotten to the point that like the video of TeeTee last year has gone viral like so many times that people are like, can we please retire this? Because it's getting just as bad as the 2016 video from our girls winning in Rio. So like, TeeTee Terry has made herself a staple on the internet when it comes to, like, if you want to talk about a relay warrior, and this is not to knock her as an individual, but like, people are always going to know TeeTee as the relay person that you need to have, because if it's somebody that's going to get their job done, it is her. Like, everybody else is going to do their thing, but if you put TeeTee Terry on that second leg, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you got a world record or whatever the case is, you better be scared if TeeTee Terry is ready to hock you down on that second leg.
Yeah, so TeeTee did her thing, I think, in this one. And then from there, Great Britain ended up second. although it says like they had a lane infraction, I think here in the results. It's so weird. Germany ends up with the bronze medal. France just shy of a medal there. Jamaica shut out again. So yeah, I mean, this is an all-star squad. Like it comes as no surprise that they won.
Yeah, I just wish that like it was definitely like a little smoother. And this is just me like being nitpicky because obviously like I'm just glad that they won. Like I don't want to do too much about it, but I wish it was like a lot smoother because last year the only difference between this team and last year's team is the fact that Tamari Davis was first leg instead of Melissa, but obviously there's no issue with Melissa being first because one, you just got a bronze medal. Two, you trained with TeeTee and Sha'Carri, so the team camaraderie is there. And also you were the first leg on the 2022 relay that TeeTee also, was able to hold it down on in terms of like getting gold and being the anchor leg. So I just wish that like with the amount of team camaraderie and speed and just like determination that all four of them have, that like the race would have been smoother because honestly, like if we keep that quartet, like I can see them breaking like the world record at some point. Like the speed is there.
Yeah.
The speed is there. Like you got TeeTee Terry running 9:99 in her sleep. She done did it 2 years in a row. She said, "You put me at second leg, baby, I'm ready."
She did. She said, "There's no one better in the world."
There is not a better person in the world on second leg than TeeTee Terry. Like I promise you. Like, but right now, that is her spot. She holds it down and she gets the job done. Sha'Carri Richardson is a just natural ball of speed, and we already know her top end is crazy. So whether she got to walk somebody down or not, she's getting to that line first. And then you have Gabby Thomas, the Olympic champion. She's like fourth fastest person all time in the 200-meter dash. And then you have Melissa Jefferson, who just got her bronze medal, who I think is very primed and ready to run a 10-7 race at some point in the very near future. So, like, I just feel like there's a lot of potential there. But I think what Michelle was talking about on Twitter, and what everybody else's kind of like consensus was, is like, yeah, if we can keep these four women, if they can continue to show up to, USA trials, continue to make the team, and we can continue to like put them together, then there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to break the world record and just like easily cakewalk the rest of the countries in terms of the 4x1.
All right. That was the women's 4x1, men's 4x1. Very different story here.
I will tolerate no Kenny slander in the comments. Okay, we still rocking with Kenny. Okay, he was beating himself up bad. He took off so early, Chris.
Yeah,
like that was that early.
He took off when the gun went off.
Come on, he was running where Christian was running. I'm like, first of all, and honestly, he probably might have just been a little worried because wasn't Kenny not at second leg the first time around? It was somebody else. So the order was obviously switched. Not that, he can't get the job done on like any leg they decide to put him on, but if you're running one way and then like you're switching orders and stuff like that, obviously that can kind of make for like some jumbled up issues. And also, you have to have a specific type of person on second leg who is ready to take on the speed of Christian Coleman. And I don't think that can just be any single person. It's not that I don't think Kenny doesn't have the talent to do so. It's not that I don't think a bunch of other people don't have the talent to do so. But like Christian Coleman is an absolute beast when it comes to first leg, when it comes to getting out of the blocks, and when it comes to like getting that baton around the first turn. And if you don't have the right person who is primed to like gobble up all that speed from him, like it has to be perfect. So you need to have somebody with him that has the right relationship in order to take that on. And I don't think Kenny was necessarily the best choice to do that.
Who do you think could have been good?
I think it should have been the same order, and you just change anchor. Because Noah was going to be anchor regardless, so you keep it as what it was in the prelims and then just change whoever the hell the anchor was. I don't think they should have switched it as much as they did. I think they should have just played it safe because, like I said, same thing with the women. They have the talent and the potential, but we already know it's about handoffs. It's about, relationships between each leg. So when you're changing stuff and the men already have a terrible history of getting DQ'd and not medaling.
Wasn't there like a whole like Kevin Hart montage about how bad this thing was, like from the last Olympics that they did? And it's like, I immediately thought of that.
I think the last Olympics was like considerably worse because I think there was rumors flying about them not actually like doing relay camp and like finding out like 5 minutes before. Don't know how true that is, but I think last time was worse. But I think that also is what makes this worse is because y'all are essentially almost the same team not the same team. Y'all did so fine in March at World Relays. What the hell was the issue?
What's the difference? No one else.
Okay, but no one was
so,
gonna be anchor regardless. And if you're gonna put anybody on anchor leg, I mean, Kenny was a fine option. I mean, I understand why they chose like Fred because like I mean you also got bronze in the 100.
Is Anderson still here? Oh, okay. Fred.
So
Fred was second leg in the prelims,
so I think
and he didn't get out. So they switched it, and Fred was anchor leg today.
But then Kenny couldn't get out.
Yeah, and he still didn't get out. And at that point, like the DQ had already happened. I mean, I give credit to Fred for like at least like going as hard as he could to try and reel people in, but it didn't matter at the end.
Which is crazy too, because it's like I don't want to say like keep the same relay that we had from like world relays because Christian Coleman needs to be first every single time. And it's not that I don't want Courtney to have the chance, but like, why would you not put the 60-meter world record holder on your first leg? Like, you're stupid if you don't do that. And this is what I mean by like, you have to have somebody who's like good enough to take in that speed. However, like when you want to consider relationships and like what was better, like for the 4x1, like Kenny and Courtney's relationship from 1 to second leg was a lot better in March than like what it was with Christian and Kenny today. So it's a lot of stuff to play with. I can see why it can be very difficult for relay coaches to kind of like concoct something that can work out for the best interest of like all 4 people. But then also I just think that there's some things that are pretty obvious, especially when you have like Carl Lewis cussing you out on Twitter.
Yeah. So apparently I haven't, because I was at the stadium, I haven't watched like the clips online yet, but apparently Carl Lewis is going totally off on the air.
Oh, I don't know if he was going off on air. I mean, I did see like the picture, but I didn't listen to the clip. But like,
but on Twitter,
his tweets were enough. So
yeah, I mean, he's he's like dismantled the whole system. You know,
Burn
hey,
it down!
hey, what wasn't I the person on this podcast a couple nights ago where I was just like, you know, we need to hold. Sometimes you don't hear about people getting fired. I was like, we need to hold people accountable, and it's like, does the USA men's 4x1 relay coach need to get fired after all this? I mean, that's.
I think we let Michelle handle the both of these. I think Michelle has done an excellent job of setting these women up for success. And honestly, she didn't prove it herself. I understand her next job now is to coach those ladies to a world record. But like, hey, please take on the men because whatever the hell they've been having going on, it's a curse. It needs to be broken. I think she could break it. So
okay, so I have Carlos's tweet pulled up. We actually posted it 47 minutes ago on the Cities Meg Instagram, and it's time to blow up the system. This continues to be completely unacceptable. It is clear that everyone at USATF is more concerned with relationships than winning. No athlete should step on the track and run another relay until this program is changed from the bottom to from top to bottom. One of the top comments here is just like, easy fix. Listen to the women. And it's true.
I like Michelle. Michelle has it figured out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That is all I'm going to say.
The people wondering like what is the behind the scenes and like what is he talking about, like the relationships and all that stuff. If you look at the relay, sometimes like it is drawn by like
you don't even
certain
need to
people
look at the
from
relay. All you got to do is go on track Twitter for about 10 minutes, and you will see athletes begging to be on this relay for like the past like 6 years.
Grant Holloway.
Grant has been begging to be on this relay. Kenny got silver in Tokyo and has had to beg for the past 4 years to be on this relay. Yeah. That is how bad it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say.
So, we got DQ'd.
Well, and on that note, let's talk about the women's 400.
No, we say we're going to be giving props to who won. Canada won. Canada won in 37.50, and the irony behind all of this is that they're the ones who finished second at World Relays or something like that. And Noah Lyles had the famous clip from us in the mix zone, and now I'm seeing it everywhere. Athletics Canada posted it. The Prime Minister of Canada actually tweeted it. It was just like, Canada who? And guess what? Now they're the gold medalists. They
I don't know, man.
Andre DeGrasse has not left a Olympics without a medal.
He said he from around the way. He gonna leave here with something. You know who else left here with something? Connie Simbine left with a silver Olympic medal. Do you know how long that man been looking for a medal?
A long time. He's 30, I think.
He's grown. Okay, in my head, he's 35. I feel like he's been running since I was like 12.
Yeah. I'm happy for him. He finished second. This was, I think that was the big takeaway while we were looking at the results. Is like, okay, what are the positives to take away from this race? It was like, okay, Canada.
The two guys who needed a medal the most.
They shut up Noah Lyles, and South Africa, Akani Simbine finally gets his medal. Great Britain in third. Louis Hinchcliffe was on that one. Nathaniel Mitchell Blake, Zarnell Hughes. Zarnell Hughes was he left the Olympics with some hardware, which is good. Italy came so close.
Pizza party would have been nuts.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. The U.S. streak is no medals. No medals since 2004.
We'll try again in L.A.
And then, yeah, if we finally get it right on home soil, that'd be pretty sweet. I saw tweets about this afterwards. It's like we should have had Christian Miller on it. I don't know if that's necessarily the fix, but you saw his tweet. Like, he was super positive about it.
I mean, he ain't got no choice now. He pro now. He in the thick of it. He about to be racing these dudes from here on out. So yeah, congratulate your countryman, because you about to be in the thick of it with him.
Yep. All right, that was the men's 4x1. Let's go to the women's 400. Maybe the deepest 400 ever run.
I don't think it's ever been a field that every woman has ran sub 50.
Yeah, so we had 8 women sub 50. We had 3 women, all 3 medalists, under 49, led by the Dominican Republic's Marlady Paulino, who ran...
Which is expected.
48-17, breaks the Olympic record, which was held by Marie-José Perec,
yes,
who was in attendance today at the meet. And I just saw a very cute photo of the two of them together. Paulino, gold medal, first gold medal for the Dominican Republic by a woman in any sport. So big moment for her. Just kind of really asserted herself as like one of the best 400-meter runners ever. If you look at the list of people who are ahead of her on the all-time list, you have, people who have served suspensions. You have people who have, in a very sketchy era. So, we're not going to get into a ton of the specifics on that. So, Marlady Paulino, maybe, one of the, it could be, people can consider, a clean world record.
we can't argue this.
Salwa Eid Nasser, who was the world champion in 2019,
She been
storms back, runs 48:53. Really gave Paulino a fight through about 200 meters.
I applaud her because she was the only one in that last 100 meters that did not look like she was fighting for it. She obviously I would say she looked very strong and she didn't break down. Her form was still textbook through the entire line, while Marlady's just I'm coming for the finish line, baby.
Yeah. Were Paulino and Nasser ever training partners or no?
I don't know.
No, maybe that's a question for Anderson. Natalia Kazmarek, third place, Poland, 48.98. Glad to see her on the podium. And then Rashida Adeleke just misses out on a medal, but really strong showing for her first Olympics.
Right. And then also shout out to Alexis Holmes for holding it down for the USA. I was talking about this yesterday, but I just feel like the men and women's 400-meter group just have so much potential. There's no reason why more of us shouldn't be making finals or either getting on the podium or getting really close to it. And Alexis Holmes, I think, was definitely a testament and a point towards that. And this is what I mean by the USA have a lot of grit, and that's why I feel like they should be able to make the finals, because before the US trials, Alexis had never went sub 50, and she ran a 49-second race to make that team, and she dug deep for that 49-second race. Then she's racing here. She tried to go with Marlady and Salwa around the bend. Obviously, that did not work out very well, but maybe it did because she came out with another PR and another 49-second race, and she didn't finish dead last. She finished straight smack in the middle at 6th place. And so I feel like that's definitely something that we should applaud. And I think that that's really only the beginning for her, especially considering all the great things that the Arkansas women's training group have been doing this entire Olympics. I mean, you've got Shamir running like 49 threes like it's nothing on like relay splits. So I think we're in good hands, and I think Alexis is going to be the top of that as we move forward.
You want to do a quick shout out to Amber Anning in 5th place, national record.
Hey, Amber, just know Owen was going crazy on Twitter about you. Owen don't play about you. Neither do Kamal. They love you real bad. But yes, congratulations to Amber. This is what I mean. The Arkansas training group is just going stupid. You know what I'm saying? You got Amber up in there. You got Alexis up in there with her. So I just think that's super amazing. And then I know Rashida is like really pissed about like finishing 4th place, but it's okay, girl. It's coming. Cause even at the European Championships, Natalia and Rashida had a really great race together. So I think it's just a matter of time before Rashida is able to just take off.
So, wait, do you have anything else on the medalist, or do you want to move on?
Nah, I think that's all I had to say. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is the women's 400 has been wide open, and so like this kind of gives a little bit of clarity as to like, oh, this is who. I mean, it was very clear that
I think it was
Paulino
clear
was gonna
that Marlady was gonna win.
But there was a little bit of a degree of like, it's not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the other thing is that like Salwa started to round into form at like literally like the best time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that she was like super inconsistent. It's just that like when everybody else was like, I'm gonna run 49 seconds, she was still running like 50 and 51. And then like 4 weeks ago, like every single race, it was just like getting faster and faster and faster, running consistent 49s, and then she popped off at the right time to earn her a silver medal. And I think the thing that was the most up in the air for me, because I was like, Salwa and Marlady will be on the podium. The most up in the air was going to be 3rd place. And I was like, it's going to be Natalia or it's going to be Rashida, because based on the race that they had at the European Championships, and you come to the Olympics, and Rashida's like, I don't want to lose twice. So, you know what I'm saying? She's
there was a lot of cool storylines in this one. Someone did bring up something very fun in the chat. After this, let's do our 4x4 relay order picks.
Okay.
So who are you putting on the women's 4x4 after this one for Team USA?
Shamir stays, Kaylin stays, Alexis on, and
Gabby.
Yes.
I agree.
Order, I don't know. Don't ask me that.
Yeah.
I don't know about the order, but that's the 4.
I think that's a 4. Men's?
We were talking about this on camera. We're like, how great would it be to have like the meme relay? So you put Quincy Wilson back. You get Noah out of quarantine and put him on the relay too.
Noah was at the award ceremony today.
Get out there on the track, man. The 4x4 needs.
He was wearing a mask.
Then you put Quincy Hall on it, so it's Quincy squared, and then like another person.
Wait.
That's if we do the meme version, but like a legitimate version. And like I said, don't ask me murder because I don't know.
Wait, we totally messed up the women's one. Everyone in chat, Sydney.
Yeah.
If she wants to do it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. See, this is. I'm not crapping on her. It's just like, I don't.
No, it's not.
It was not a thought in my mind to like put. No,
it's not a thing of like, if she wants to do it in the sense of like she gets to race, like she doesn't race a lot. Like that wasn't the slight there. It was the fact that her and her coach have said that she may have only gone 400 hurdles here, but. Today at the
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I just wasn't my bad, girl. I just was not thinking about you.
I would replace Kaylin with Sydney.
No, replace Quinera with Sydney.
You didn't have Quinera on your 4.
Wait. Okay,
Start over.
Run it back. Okay, Shamir.
I don't.
Kaylin, Alexis, and Sydney.
No, I think I like this other order that was dropped in here. Quinera Hayes, Gabby Thomas, Alexis Holmes, Sydney McLaughlin.
Oh my God, y'all keep making this hard for me. Okay, but no, Shamir needs to be on the relay. Like no, Shamir has been running 49.3 consistently for the entire week. Put her on that damn relay.
All right. So Sid's gonna be on it.
I would switch Quinera and Shamir.
Okay, Sydney told NBC that she does want to run.
Okay, well then Yes, whatever they said, but switch Quinera for Shamir. And it's not that I have an issue with Quinera because Quinera can get it done on the relay, but Quinera went 51 today, and Shamir has been running 49 all week. That's why I would change it.
All right, then we go men's, which we got a glimpse of today. History was made. Quincy Wilson, youngest American man to ever run at the Olympics in track and field at 16 years old. Amazing. We're happy for him because...
They're not putting him in the final, unfortunately.
No. Today, very unfortunate.
Okay.
He ran split 47, and it's like very tough. But then he afterwards said he wasn't feeling like himself, and if he got
KT tape around his hamstring too. So
yeah, so something may have been up, but like he got the opportunity, made it a little scary for Team USA, but thanks to the veteran
Vernon Norwood,
that is Vernon Norwood,
Uncle Vern.
He clawed his way back. They clawed their way back. Chris Bailey, great job, and they made it through. They were they finished third in their heat, so crisis averted.
I would keep the same relay, but take Quincy out and put Rai on.
What about Quincy Hall?
You literally just said yesterday he was like he don't even know if he running because he hurt.
I don't think it's like a severe injury.
I talked to him today. He was like, "It's game time." Like,
oh,
y'all.
That's right. Yeah, you did talk to him.
Y'all will see if I'm on the line when it pop up. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not. Like, so I don't have him on there because you're not a sure yes, which is okay. Like that's fine. Like I think they can get it done without Quincy, and I think people would love to see Quincy on it. But also, he has Diamond League races after this, and so I would much rather him not be on the relay because they can still hold it down. Like you can put Rai Benjamin in Quincy's place. Like that's not an issue.
I think the order, and I agree with this other person in the chat: Bryce Deadman, Vernon Norwood, Quincy Hall if he's healthy, Rai Benjamin.
So if Quincy's not healthy, who you putting?
Chris Bailey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chris Bailey's been really good. So
Relay Warrior.
Yeah.
Somebody on Twitter was like atting Chris, and they were like, Chris Bailey be selling. When he was at NCAA championships, he tried to do too much, and that's why he died. And so then after he like helped the relay today, he was like, I need to update my Relay Warrior resume. And I'm like, yeah, you told that man. You've learned from your NCAA days, boy.
All right. So we've got those to look forward to tomorrow. Anything else? I think that's it for sprints. So
I'm about to let y'all have a good time talking about this 10K.
You enjoyed it. You watched it.
I thought it was crazy. I was snuggled up in the blanket on the couch too. I was like, oh, what's Stefan gonna do? Then I'm looking at Parker. I'm like, whoa, girl. Now she's trying to take the lead. And then she only had it for like 5 seconds, but it's okay. She got some guts. And then, I don't know. I just thought it was a fun race. Stefan Hassan, babe, if you watch this, you a sick woman, and I love it.
All right. Thank you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
All right. And now we're going to bring on our distance crew. We've got Mitch Dyer, Eric Jenkins, Aisha Pratt. They'll be joining us to unpack the women's 10,000 meter race that took place. And we'll try and get Paulie Throws on the line because he's got to give us a report on things. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good, thanks for asking.
Fantastic. Yeah. We're all laying down there, all communally.
Before we get into some
beautiful.
10,000 talk, do you guys want to read some emails?
I don't know. Like, I think so. It's hard when you're the D- guy, but yeah, we can read some emails.
Oh. All right.
Yes.
All right. So
As long as they're better.
for the people who didn't catch our episode, yeah. We will get to the 10,000 meters, but before that, let's have some fun and read some emails that we got since our episode 2 days ago. If you want to write in, shoot me an email, chris@citiusmag.com, and I've been enjoying getting these all throughout the past couple days. So we have not heard from Ross L. in Cincinnati.
He's
Coward.
Back down.
Coward.
He's back down. That's weak.
But we have heard from other people in Cincinnati. We're hearing from Austin.
Cincinnati, stand up.
It's like we're just hearing from so many people in Cincinnati.
Dividing
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Does YouTube only work in Cincinnati or what?
Surely.
All right. Austin writes in and says, Dear Cities Mag Olympic team, I write you to respond to my fellow Cincinnatian, Ross L. Really, this message is for track guy and Australian guy. Ross L equals Nordos, so fuck him. Keep doing what you're doing. More banter, more better. You are always welcome in Cincinnati. When you're in town, come join Cincinnati Elite
Love it.
for a run.
Thank
Much
you.
love, Austin.
Shout out Cincinnati Elite.
Yeah,
Shout out
huge
Austin.
Cincinnati Elite guys.
Yeah.
And Austin.
Josh Horn, also from Cincinnati.
Dude, Cincinnati's popping off.
I took personal offense that the listener dumping on the show last night was from Cincinnati. Mitch and Eric are welcome here anytime. I can provide luxurious boarding, couches, and diner quality breakfast for Mitch.
Imagine pulling up actually.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's like, hey, we're here.
hey, yeah, I decided we'd take you up on
Yeah.
your invite.
So where is it?
Hey, I'm in Cincy.
Can you drop a pin?
So were we not welcome there? Like, did the Ross guy say don't come?
No, he never was that explicit.
No,
about
he
it.
was never that.
I'm glad we're very
Look at us.
welcome now.
Well, yeah, we got
Great.
we got
We got
omelets
diner
at
breakfast?
Austin's house.
That sounds great.
Omelets are pretty fancy.
That
Yeah.
sounds great.
I guess
Is
pancakes.
that done? Yeah. With the, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know where.
I'm like, you got this.
You
You got this. You can.
I'm trying to act like I go to a diner. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And it's not
You're
a
like
thing.
pancake. Oh, like
Yeah,
the
like with the syrup. I was
fucking,
going for maple. I was going for maple syrup. So I was doing the hand. Just,
Like, I feel like I did know this.
I thought maybe you'd finish it.
I don't know if you have these things in Australia.
No, we don't. We like no.
Um,
I hate myself.
he closed it out by saying, the rambling, nonsensical nature of the podcast is what makes it so delightful. Listeners get track and field commentary plus a free comedy show. Sincerely,
Okay.
Perfect.
Josh.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Josh.
Real short one-liner. Never stop being exactly who you guys are. All of you are amazing and so good for the sport.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, will do.
So sweet.
I need to read that at 9.
This one is really
Okay.
long. Is this, Mac, you read this one about the snorkeling? Is this okay to read? Yeah, okay. I haven't read it yet. Hey, Sidious team. I'm not sure if these emails are the correct place for this to go, but this
they are.
address is what I found online. I hope that this makes it to the Sidious Mac podcast crew, Chris, Eric, Caitlin, Karen, Aisha, Mac, and Polly Throws. I was
Okay.
feeling inspired by the pod this morning and with the email from Ross from Ohio, who sent in detailing his harsh report card to send my own appreciative version. I've been a big-time track fan for some time now. What are you laughing?
They said every name but my name. Oh my god, that's good.
Like,
nice.
okay.
It's a tough. It's brutal out
Yeah,
here.
maybe stop swearing.
Clean the language up.
Oh, I see it. It's on there. He just didn't read it
yeah.
out.
Oh,
It
yeah.
definitely says Mitch.
It must have been at the start.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
I've been a big-time track fan for some time now, but have only been keeping up on the YouTube, watching races and interviews after the fact. I found the Cities Mag podcast on Spotify a few months ago before the Olympic trials, and I think I've caught most episodes since then. Gone back and listened to past interviews. I don't have a report card to give, although I love the one y'all gave the 1500-meter men's finalists because I would give you all A+. I think the coverage and exposure your team is bringing to the sport is stellar. I love listening to the interviews and race recaps. Both are entertaining and well done. Unlike Ross, I think the tangents are funny, and as a full-grown adult listening to the podcast hosted by other adults, a little cursing cannot be less bothersome. I thought about emailing a couple weeks ago when Eric shared the story about running 9 miles a week in high school. All of it with a taped up snorkel on the treadmill. Where is this going? I've got my own story of a similar flavor. In 7th grade, I think I saw it.
Similar. I like a similar flavor.
Yeah, like what else?
Yeah.
What else could there be to it?
7th grade. Wait.
You got in earlier
7th
than you.
grade?
That's earlier than you.
What to expect?
Do you need me to take over? Yeah, okay,
Chris
great.
has lost
I gotcha.
it. That is the
Okay,
roguest
here we
thing
go.
for you to listen at.
Chris is short circuiting.
Oh my
Incredibly
god.
long.
All right. I thought about emailing a couple weeks ago when Eric shared the story about running 9 miles a week in high school, all of it with a taped up snorkel on the treadmill. I've got my own story of a similar flavor. In 7th grade, I saw, I think on Prison Break or Locked Up Abroad, high quality TV right there, that one of the inmates in preps for his escape would run around the yard with a mouth full of water to force himself to only breathe through his nose to, quote, expand his lung capacity. That was
Christ.
that was all I needed to hear.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I started running all my runs, which is also maybe 10 miles a week, with water in my mouth and would only breathe normally for races. Coaches and parents alike, both horrified. Almost was banished to the treadmill like Eric because I refused to let the mouth water thing die. They clearly just didn't understand my commitment. I did win 7th grade state in a bunch of stuff that year and fully attribute it to the water.
100%.
I was never super fast like Eric, but I'm glad to hear that the pursuit of being fast led to me maybe just being a little less crazy. Just saw Cole Hawker and Yared Nuguse interviews drop. Excited to listen to those on my run after work today. I'm gearing up for my first half marathon this fall and first full in Eugene in April. The podcasts are nice ear fuel for the easy runs as I've been doing my training loose term. I am slow alone. Thank you, Studios, for all you do for the sport. Cheers and keep up the good work. I look forward to continuing to listen along. Good luck, Chris, and all the marathon or in the marathon for all. I can't wait to hear a debrief about the hill. How do you just go back to normal writing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
after
you
that
drop
story.
mouthwater. And this is from Megan, a slow runner from Champaign, Illinois.
Thanks,
Wow.
Megan.
Thanks,
That's
Megan.
all. That's a fan.
That's beautiful.
Mouthwater.
Wow. Did you ever think of that?
Prison break?
No, I had my own,
Eric's
I had
own
my own
thought.
thing going, but similar flavors, as Megan said.
You guys need to meet.
Gotta meet her. Also, you gotta love Prison Break. No matter if you're in prison, you can still train like you're at altitude. Right?
Mouthwater is the new poor
Where
man's
there's a
altitude.
where there's a will your way.
No more double thresholds.
As long as you don't, as long as you're not doing life, if you can get
you
out,
can get out.
you put your miles in, mouthful of water, expand those lungs. It worked for her in 7th grade. She won the state meet, right? Fuck, that's sick.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Brad writes in and says, thanks for Torch Talk. It's been a great recap of each day's events, and want to let you know how much it is appreciated, even by us dinosaurs amongst the current group of track and field fans. The pods have not been too long or not focused. Frankly, I could take even more, but I don't want to cut into Eric's nap period.
That's considerate.
Great callback.
That
Great
is
callback.
considerate.
Yeah,
That
really
is very
good.
considerate.
My only request for future would be more poly throws, more field events coverage. There have been some incredible field events in Paris, and they merit more discussion, especially in the throws. And as for poly throws, I thought I was a big fan of track and field, but that guy's knowledge is amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks again for some great coverage.
Good reviews.
He's nailed it.
We need that.
We got one more.
They're all from Cincinnati. Hey.
This one's from Leuven, Belgium.
Oh.
Anna from Leuven, Belgium. A+ in entertainment, F in athlete safety. I'd like to
What?
commend you on being nearly through the marathon, pun intended, that is Olympic track and field coverage. I enjoy listening to Torch Talk in the mornings during my workouts and runs to relive the glory of the previous night's events. It is like a great hangout with my track and field nerd friends. Nevertheless, I do think you need to be more thoughtful about who your audience is. During my run this morning, however, I nearly choked on my gel due to the hilarity of your most recent episode. Such a high-quality balance of humorous and informative content is a real risk to the safety of runners everywhere. Keep up the good work.
She had us
Thank
in the
you,
first
Anna.
half.
That was
I was
nice.
worried.
Yeah.
I was
Anna
a
from
bit scared.
Leuven.
I was like, this is the language
Like,
thing.
oh no, we
Like
did
runner
something bad.
safety.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one is the one that I found. This one, the subject line was just "get on the piss," and then it's like,
Fuck yeah.
You want to be mates?
I wanted to give you a shout out after catching up on the past Torch Talk. Yes, even the track guy and the Aussie. I spend my workday looking forward to watching the day's events and then immediately going to your YouTube recap and conversation. 2 things.
Okay.
Number 2, please bring back Running Things Considered with hosts Karen Leswich, Mitch Dyer, and Eric Jenkins. The piss chat from the other morning was vintage Running Things Considered. It was an old podcast we used to do. We might have to revive it, so I'm with them. The other one, I'd love to listen to a discussion on measuring throws. Particularly, I'm talking discus and shot put when it's not on grass. Javelin, hammer, and shot put on grass either stay in place or leave very clear marks that officials can use for measuring. But the disc skips. The officials stand on the side of the sector, many meters away from where the disc lands, and you're telling me that they're precise enough to have the confidence in a 70-meter throw from Stona versus a 69.97-meter throw from Alekna? Don't get me wrong, I know Stona won, I actually thought from the broadcast that Alekna's throw was spotted further than it should have been. I just find it really hard to believe that there isn't a significant amount of room for error by the spotters. Can you have Pauly throws on and tell him why I shouldn't be worried? Thanks. Keep up the good work, Cole.
I think he's onto something.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
Pauly,
That was a very
take note.
specific ask.
Yeah,
very
we need
specific.
Something.
Pauly tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the questions from the
Yeah.
listeners.
Yeah.
I was thinking that in the shot put today. I was like, it's one guy just picking where he thinks the shot put has landed. I was
Surely
like,
there's more, right?
It just.
Well, we're gonna have to ask Pauly.
We're gonna have to ask Paul because
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that guy has a lot of responsibility, like a lot of responsibility if it's just him.
Yeah. All right. So that got us nice and warmed up
Yeah,
for some
I
10K chatter.
I feel better now.
All right. This one, fairly not pedestrian like pace through the first 5K, but everyone was still in it. It was 15:45, I think, or something like that through the first 5K. And then at some point, the pack splinters with about a K to go, and ends up being 3 Kenyans, like 2 Ethiopians, Sifan Hassan, and then Nadia Batakleti. And the final 600 meters was just, oh yeah, Winnie Kaladi was also in there. Everyone just giving it everything they had. I saw something online, and maybe someone in the chat could double check this. It could not have been true, right? That Beatrice Chibet's final 600 meters was
I heard this.
faster than Keely Hodgkinson's final 600 meters.
Her last, I've got splits here. Her last lap was 57:29.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Jesus.
that is blistering.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
she's the world record holder in this event. Like, I'm not shocked that she won gold. The kick was very, very impressive. The Sifan Hassan doing Sifan Hassan things, just kind of chilling all the way in the back. Like, she just stays as far back as possible for as long as she can, and then eventually weaves her way all the way up to, striking distance of the win, and makes you really kind of sweat it out in the final 200 or so meters when she's going full out. Ends up with a bronze medal, very impressive. But the breakout star of this one is Nadia Batakleti from Italy, who's 24 years old. She, after the whole Faith Kipyegon, debacle where she got DQ'd, it was Nadia Batakleti who ended up getting that bronze medal for about an hour or two while the appeals were taking place, and then that gets revoked, again. And so this is in a way like a little bit of a redemption race. She ends up with the silver medal, but was charging and like really gave Beatrice Chibet a run right there at the very end, where I'm watching this thing and I'm like, she might win.
I thought she was going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully thought she was going to win with 100 meters to go. She
Yeah.
was charging, and she looked really good and really strong.
Yeah. She's someone who's like, I guess like her background being like, she coming from like 3K. Like, I don't like, that's the thing.
Was she in
I-
Budapest last year?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have her progression, her 5K progression.
She was tucked in the perfect spot. Like, I'm surprised with we're saying splits like 57. How many athletes were still like it wasn't like people were getting dropped like everyone's in it.
Yeah.
Obviously Beatrice kind of pulled away and is pulling and doing all the work, but still, it's very impressive that others were able to close around that fast too.
Yeah.
Rini closed in 62.
Wow.
She was really storming.
Yeah.
So yeah, Batakleti's progression. 2021, she ran 14:46 at the Tokyo Olympics. I don't know what place that got her. 2022 maybe dealt with injury because I only see a 15:10. Then 2023, 14:41, and then this year, took 10 seconds off. Today was a personal best. So for her, like, that's some really good 5K wheels, and to see her turn this around in the 10K was very impressive.
Especially after that 5K. We talked a lot about it afterwards, but like how emotional that was. And I think I said that it's unfair to her the whole situation was just kind of mishandled. And for her to be able to bounce back, regroup mentally, and come back and give a performance like this and come away with a medal must be so rewarding. And probably it's great to see an athlete get it. That's a great picture. I mean,
Yeah.
just all the emotion right there. And I think everyone's just it's great to see like these breakthrough athletes, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And she's young, so we all get excited for the future.
100%. I mean, it's so it can't be understated how hard that would have been to go from the ecstasy of being an Olympic medalist to then nothing. But it wasn't also like she was just. I don't know. She looked so strong. Like it looked like the type of run where it's like that's not a fluke that she's the Olympic silver medalist. Like this is someone who can threaten these athletes for a long time to come. I was with you, Aisha. I thought she was going to win. She was coming on that outside shoulder, and I was like, oh my god, she looked so just composed. Was pulling away from the rest of the field. To be able to do that and close in 57, 58. Will scare a lot of people, and obviously anytime you become an Olympic medalist you're on the radar, but sometimes the way in which you become an Olympic medalist says a lot too, and for her to do it that way, ultra impressive.
Right now, not a great Olympics for Ethiopia. I'm looking at it. Of the women, only medal so far has been the silver in the 800.
Where did Sagai finish today?
Not good. She was further back. She ended up finishing in 6th, but was not her.
And you would
Yeah,
think this
she
would be a
wasn't really
perfect
back
race for her, like a slow race that just sit and kick.
14-minute, PR. Gudaf Sagai did not show up to these Olympics.
Yeah.
And I guess she's got the 15 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Meant to.
When I didn't realize
the overlap.
that she was doing the triple. Like we're talking about Safwan Hassan, and now look at this. Like that triple is really, really, really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine running balls out for the last 600 of a 10K and then showing up to the 15 tomorrow, especially when things aren't clicking your way. I think there's something to be said for Safwan Hassan, just like riding these waves of awesome performances. You're picking up medals, you're tired, you're doing your Safwan thing. The vibes are high, but when you're not feeling great, you're going back to the track like, again?
Yeah.
Again?
You almost start second guessing yourself. Like, I should have maybe just gone all in on one.
Yeah.
I mean, her schedule is what? 5K, 5K, 15, 15, 10K, another 15.
Yes.
It's just
brutal.
It's a brutal
Yeah, that's
schedule.
crazy.
And on paper, it doesn't set her up that well for the 15 final tomorrow.
Because she was in the fast heat of the.
She ran
15.
356 or 357, right?
And again, she went to the front and was driving the bus.
Yeah, and then today, what did she close the final 600 in, Mac?
Max said she just closed the last 459.
Yeah.
So
That's
she's
gonna take
working.
a lot.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
like she still closed well. It's just not like an athlete like Sagai. It's like, oh, you should be getting medals.
Yeah.
And I
And-
know you want medals. But this is a crazy schedule to be able to, when you're not running 100%, it's just, you wouldn't bet on her in the 15 tomorrow. But I had so much, like Safwan, it's so much fun watching Safwan race. 2 medals, 2 races down, 2 medals, marathon coming up in a day or so. Yeah. I think she's probably going to medal again.
You think?
Well, I said she'd medal the last 2 times. You might as well just go all in and say she's going to medal this time for the last race. But, I mean, she looks great. She's not like in the past Safwan when she like makes her moves, because she's in good positioning. And usually when she closes and makes her moves, she's just right to the front and kind of dominates. It's not necessarily the case with these past races, right? Like, come away with bronze in both of them. But, I mean, I certainly wouldn't count her out in the marathon, and I feel like you'd be a fool to say there's no way she ends up on the podium.
I think. Thank you. I keep raising my hand.
I love
This is-
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to provide some order.
Yeah.
But
God, we need it.
I think seeing her make the moves in the way that she is, I think that makes me more confident for her in the marathon, actually. Because if you're missing that little explosive pop on the track, it means you're probably pretty strong, aerobically strong on the other side. So I think it's actually like a vote of confidence for Sifan to say like, oh, okay, well, maybe she's not exactly track sharp. That means she's probably spending her time doing something else.
Yeah.
Marathon training, workouts. So her legs are maybe a little bit dull. So she's probably going to rip this marathon.
And she's also done, like, she's so experienced. She knows herself and knows she's done triples before. Not this triple, right? Not like this exact order of races and stuff.
Stupid.
This one is
crazy.
This one is wild. But it's so entertaining. It's
Did you see her on the starting line?
we're lucky for the fans. I've seen her. I wasn't watching her today. She was. I was watching her in the 5K starting line. She's on a different planet in these starting lines, right?
She doesn't know where she is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, as she said, she's battling her mind out there.
She's battling like that breakdancer from Australia today.
Yeah.
Just, you don't know what she's
Putting on for the whole whole
she
continent.
she tried her best.
Yeah, she did.
Biggest island in the world, a lot of responsibility.
She did.
I know nothing about breakdancing, so I
a lot of responsibility.
like it's a lot of
They
responsibility.
gathered up all the Australians. They're like, "Oh, you're actually really, really good."
Yeah. Like, wow.
Holy shit! Yeah,
Yeah.
you go for sure. You're our best.
Yeah.
You're our
Yeah.
best. Oh wow, you're actually really, really good.
She is really, really good.
Get in there. If you do exactly what we just saw, I can't imagine a gold medal's not coming back. She's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'll give it a shot." Gets out there and just does like the worm. It was sick.
God.
It was sick. It does have to be funny. Think about like you do that, right? And then you go like, oh, I wonder like how Twitter's handling this.
Like,
And then you're like, oh my, yeah.
skewered.
She got so
Yeah.
roasted on
Oh
social.
my
I
God.
feel
You're like-
so bad
Yeah.
for her.
It feels different when you're doing it, like a lot cooler, and then you see it and you're like, well, I'm kind of getting, well,
well,
not
shoot.
for everyone.
Well, I'm getting
It's not-
flamed.
look.
I'm
Yeah.
getting flamed. Oh, poor girl.
What the
Sorry.
What the hell were we talking about?
hell was I
We're
saying?
talking about Hassan's mind.
Oh yeah.
And then you segued. This is that mental, that mental stuff
Ross
that
is
Cincinnati's
like,
talking about.
Ross
Yeah.
is like, was I wrong?
Yeah. Ross has written in. He's
oh,
like, this
oh.
is exactly what I'm talking about.
He's like, oh, was I really wrong? Fuck. No mental fortitude. I still don't even know what I was talking about with
Talking about
Siobhan's-
Siobhan on the-
Yeah, no, Siobhan on the start
On
line
the start
with
line.
her mind. She said she's insane. Oh yeah. It must be like the gun goes off and she's like, oh, thank God. I can just work incredibly hard and kind of silence the demons. And that's why she's like, let's actually do the marathon. Let's race as much as possible
So I don't have to.
so I don't need to deal with this fucking shit going on upstairs. But anyway, she is my favorite athlete right now. And I can't wait for the marathon.
Thanks, Eric.
I'm sorry. These late night shows, it's just like, who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen?
It's 1 a.m.
It's just like, what the
just-
fuck?
I'm gonna just take a lap.
Oh, she's gone.
Good. That's what you
Wow,
want.
dude, you got
That's
one.
what you want.
You got one.
God.
You might get two. It might be you and me closing the show.
That's the perfect
That's
reaction.
the day. That's a day.
That's like
that's
what-
like that's like
that's like a spit
That is the
take.
greatest thing that you can get.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
She's keeled over.
Man.
Aisha's not well. She's in the sink.
But anyway, what can you do?
Yeah, nothing. I get run. Clearly, it's the only way.
So
to
yeah,
beat it.
10K was a hell of a race.
Yeah, great race.
Let me get us back on track.
Go on.
Parker Valby, huh?
Yeah. Well, Winnie Kaladi. Let's go there first. It's top 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you take it away.
No,
Mitch.
I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try and steer it now.
Steer it.
I'm back. I'm back.
I mean, Winnie
Um,
Kaladi, very impressive. Like
Top
only
American.
the final
Yeah, top
400 meters
American.
did she get dropped off that pack, and it wasn't even that aggressive of a drop off. So massive props to her to be top 8 at the Olympics on debut too is crazy. And the Americans all seem to work pretty well together for
Yeah,
the
they were
majority
really
of
good
it. Like they stayed relatively close to each other. obviously once that kick is made, like it's pretty hard to hang on at 57. But I mean, that means Winnie must have closed, what, 62 you
62,
said?
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Impressive.
yeah, really quick on
Carissa
debut.
right with her, right behind her, a couple seconds back. I mean, it's encouraging. I was looking at the results, and at the end of it, probably because of how slow the first 5K was of the whole thing, that I was like, they still ended up running 30:43. That the new standard for Tokyo is 30:20.
That's so
so
fast.
fast. How many people are running that?
I don't know, not that many.
Yeah.
But so no one comes away
Small
with the
field.
standard.
Yeah.
But they'll just fill it off of ranking. But this will be worth a lot of rankings points for people. Carissa Schweizer, this is very impressive, just kind of given the fact that she's doubling at these Olympics and she's battled a bunch of injuries to get back to the starting point. 9th place, so that's 2 Americans in the top 10.
It's also like this is a tough race. They're closing, if the rumors are true, and closing faster than Keely Hodgkinson ran last 800. I mean, that's not necessarily the race that Carissa Schweizer is going to be best suited for, right? It's like, and she's probably expecting a much faster race, maybe not from the gun, right? But at least from, a couple Ks out, pick up the last 5K maybe. So yeah, because you're not used to seeing athletes like Carissa really get dropped in these races. But now you're hearing these splits and hearing how fast these athletes actually ran, you're like, okay, it does make a little bit of sense how they created the separation.
Wild. Yeah, like I don't think we can really explain it enough, like how fast that is at the end of a 10K. Like most 10K women don't run 57 ever.
Is this the fastest? What's the
Would have
fastest
Yeah, we
the
need to get a
10K's
stats
been
guy.
closed? Like
If you're a
57's crazy.
Yeah, if you're a stats guy, let us know in the chat. But seriously, like that's got to be, I mean, women that have won Olympic and World Championship medals. Like I'm thinking to some of Carissa's old Bowerman teammates of like breaking 60 would be like a goal for the season. And I remember when Courtney Frericks finally did it, and that woman is a silver medalist in the World Championship. Like we're talking in a much shorter distance, 3,000 meter steeple, like 57 for a close in a 10K. That is crazy talk. Like that is so fast. So I think everybody here raced incredibly well. Again, I mean, to your point, Wayne, first Olympics.
Yeah.
She's 8th. The last American 10K medalist was Emily Infeld back in 2015. And now we're seeing 2 in the top 10. Like I think this is really promising for American distance running. And Parker Valby hit the front at one point. Like,
yeah, with like 3 laps to go.
Yeah, like that's confidence, that's experience, and this is just gonna grow and continue to get better.
Yeah, I was talking to Parker afterwards, and she was saying like coming into this race, she was talking to her coaches, and she was like, "Yeah, my goal for this one is just don't get lapped twice." Today didn't even get lapped once.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished there, but to stick her nose in it, just kind of with 3 laps to go, very impressive. There was panic, I think, at the beginning. If you're watching from home on the NBC broadcast, they said that she cut in like way too early, but she was on the back line, which is ended up being like totally okay. So no reason to like get all up in arms about that. And then funny, like there's always a funny story with Parker before these races. She apparently like, okay, your Olympic final is tonight. What would you be doing from like 2 to 5 p.m. before you have to head to the stadium?
Just sitting down in the hotel room, probably.
She went out into the city, took the train, was going around and was looking for a place to get her nails done. She went to 2 separate spots, ended up at one spot where she had to use Google Translate on her phone to like tell them what they wanted. First spot didn't do designs. She had to do like a bunch of I don't know what it was, like Olympic rings and like all this stuff. And it's like walking around the city like hours before your race doesn't sound like the ideal, but it, like on the mental side of things, they got sometimes what you need.
Look, if you're used to having a fresh manicure, like I never feel better than when I look down at my hands and I have a fresh manicure. It's just part of the uniform. You're putting it together. As someone who lives in the U.S., if you're trying to get a manicure in Europe, good freaking luck.
That hard.
It is just, it's so annoying. They don't. It's not like you walk into a salon in the U.S. Boom, manicure done. You're out in 30 minutes. I've spent 12 years on the professional circuit in Europe, and Parker learned the lesson today. You never leave the U.S. without a fresh mani. Do I need one now? Yes, I do. Am I going to be walking around Paris looking for a manicure? Absolutely not. But if I was racing the Olympic final,
You'd be walking around.
It's what you need.
So they just don't believe. They just don't
It
believe
takes
in
too
manicures
long.
over here.
It's just like a different. I don't know. I feel like the chemicals are different. They don't quite
Really?
understand. Like American nail salons. It's like American nail salons and Japanese nail salons. Like they get it done. It is a different level of service, a different level of artistry. Like it's a very technical thing.
Yeah.
This is not to be messed with, and I support you, Parker, because you gotta look good. And then you're gonna feel good, and you're gonna race good. So you do you, girl.
I like that.
Isn't the Nike house doing nails?
Yeah, they were.
Maybe
Isn't
they
that
didn't have gel. I mean, you guys
No,
get it.
I mean,
Yeah, we don't
no,
get
no,
it.
I don't get.
There's
You're
a
right. I
What
don't.
is wrong with you,
There
man?
is levels
Yeah,
to
their Nike
this.
house is doing it. They're not doing it like Parker wanted.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Australian
Gels. They
guy.
had just
I'm
gels.
just asking.
It's
What an
just
asshole.
serious.
No, you just don't get it.
If you have
That
to
was
ask,
in
you can't afford
Really
it.
spooky unison that you both said that at the same time. I don't like how much time you guys are spending with each other. It's starting to really freak me out. Well, I mean, look, obviously she got it done, so that's the most important thing, right? She got. I'm
Yeah.
assuming the second
I
one
do
she went
think-
to, she got it nailed.
Yeah, yeah.
She got
I
it
do
all-
think she
got
could
it
have timed it better.
sorted. For sure.
What was she doing yesterday?
I mean, valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
The day before even.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe the day before that. I don't know. But yeah,
you're
race
raising
day.
some important points.
Sounds like she
Amazing.
cut into her warm up maybe to get these nails done.
Look,
She did whatever. Look at the
did
Nike
great.
house. The Nike house is doing gels. That's not all right.
No. Is
maybe
that what they
they're
were
not
doing?
gels.
You weren't even
You
listening.
don't even
You're just hearing what you want to hear. It's just ganging up.
Get
Oh,
out
yeah,
of here.
no, it's like,
I'll
yeah.
talk to you about it later.
okay,
okay?
okay.
I'll
Eric's like, I don't
educate
know what the
you.
hell you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I think I did miss a critical piece of what Nike was
just
and was
rolled.
not doing in
just
terms of
rolled with
gels and the nails. If they were, or were
I
not
was
doing
only
it.
thinking that because she is wearing the Nike spikes. Team USA sponsored by Nike. Like I'd assume they would open the doors to Parker if she wanted to come in. Don't know whether they're just doing purely Nike nails or what the go is, but I mean, if obviously it didn't affect her all that much. Like she ran great, so maybe she's some. There are some athletes I feel like that do need to be distracted or like
Oh,
treat the day like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
your average day.
Yep.
Like,
And
like
I'm
yeah,
really
there's-
could
there
stress a lot
absolutely-
of people out, but
For sure,
clearly
there
Yeah.
is absolutely
Yeah.
the element of just like being relaxed as possible. That take your mind off the race. Sometimes if you are just sitting around all day, just like thinking about it,
Get in your own
Getting
head.
in your
would say-
head.
yeah, I would hate that. Like I would probably be like Parker. I would have to do something.
Get a different side quest.
Yeah, different side quest. Probably not one where I'm like not sure where I'm going. He's going to complete my side quest. I don't want to do 2 side quests, but I do understand not wanting to sit there all day and be like, this is the biggest moment of my life tonight, and run
Yeah.
through every possible scenario in your head of it going well or it going poorly, or like maybe she couldn't nap. Like I don't know. Like I kind of get it, but not ideal to do 2 side quests. Like probably could have got on the first one. That would have been better.
Hey, it worked out. All right. Let's look ahead to tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, men's marathon, 8 a.m. start. The New York Times published an article today describing the marathon course as like it was designed to be torturous, and there was something else about how like the world's best marathoners are gonna look very human to people tomorrow. Not great news.
Not great.
Dante's Inferno out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Good luck.
suck.
Gonna be shit, boys.
But I mean, like, gonna be very entertaining.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be a great watch.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see how the Americans stack up. Connor Mance, Clayton Young. Did Lenny make it?
Yeah.
Lenny's out there.
He was. He posted a photo of him. He was at the Nike hospitality suite. Maybe he was.
Maybe he's getting his nails
Getting
done.
his nails
Nails done.
Yeah.
He's like, these things are fucking
He's
sick.
like, hey, Dad. Very jelly.
At Parker.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
these out.
Kind of
Yeah.
gel. Yeah.
No Google Translate needed.
Yeah.
Um,
Straight nail gas. Yeah.
He's looking fit. Clayton's, Max is saying Clayton's looking fit. Chris has been talking a lot about Cam Levins.
Cam Levins has been on the minds.
Cam Levins going to be on the podium. That would be awesome to see.
Yep.
I love that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You've doubled
Stand
down.
by. I love it.
Yeah.
How do you think the race plays out?
It's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think there's probably if I really hope that Kipchoge doesn't do what he tried to do in Boston, which for some odd reason he was the one who just took it from the front and tried to take the race wire to wire, where he hasn't done well on a course with hills before. He doesn't run the New York City Marathon. He avoids it. So I don't know what is his best race plan. Is it just sort of sit and try and respond to these guys? He's looked very vulnerable. I mean, losing in Tokyo earlier this year, and he was sort of still only selected because he
Is Kipchoge?
is
The
Kipchoge.
guy, yeah.
I'm like, that's
Sure.
a good
I
selection.
get that pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not super high on his odds to win. Bekele,
Who do you think comes out on top?
between
Those
Bekele,
two? Yeah.
Bekele and
Yeah.
Kipchoge,
Kipchoge.
I think Bekele, because
Mm.
Bekele hits you with the "What have you done for me recently?" and it was London Marathon in April was good, and then is however many time world cross country champion. The dude can do well.
He can
That's
rip,
a
yeah.
good shout.
Has
because
Kipchoge never won a world cross title?
No.
What a loser.
Real
Oh my
chink in the
God.
armor, isn't it?
Has he ever raced it?
He's really kept that low.
He must have raced it before.
Yeah, he raced it before.
And he
And he
didn't
just
win.
couldn't
He
win.
didn't win.
That sucks.
But I think it's either Cam Levins or Benson Kipruto, another person.
Oh,
I think
I
could win.
thought you meant that win.
To win.
I think he is saying to
Yeah.
win. I absolutely love
Cam
how
Levins
I'm
gung
big.
ho you are
I'm
on
big.
Cam
I'm
Levins.
Wow,
big on
I
it.
love this.
I'm big
I
on
love
it.
Yeah.
That'd be so.
I mean, you
sick.
will come out genius level IQ. If,
Yeah,
if
Matt's
Cam
been
Levins-
tooting Benson. Matt
if Cam Levins
loves
wins.
Benson Kipruto.
Yeah.
Thinks he's the guy to do it.
I'm scrolling through this list and
What about Bashir
Like,
Abdi?
you're like, this is a weak list.
Bashir Abdi is always someone who's been
oh,
on
Bashir, yeah, of course,
on
yeah.
the podium.
Tola.
Tamara
Tamara Tola. The Ethiopia team is.
This might be where they get
This,
their
I
redemption.
think this
yeah.
is
This might be the
probably
time.
their best event in terms of distance.
I wonder if they'll get yelled at if they don't follow the race
Oh,
plan.
they will. Tamara Tola is like, hey, would you mind if I just sat around for a bit?
Yeah.
And I know, it's not the right thing to do, but have you seen the course? Yeah. It's gonna suck, and I'd like to not lead at mile 18. They're like, you know what? You're not allowed to race just for asking that. So hit the
showers, buddy.
I do think that
easy
if
days.
this is going to be really interesting. I
Yeah.
think if there's sort of like a breakaway situation, I think people are going to end up just absolutely popping and getting completely gobbled up.
Yeah.
I could see this doing like Connor Manson, Clayton Young doing well in a race like this, where it is going to be kind of chaotic. The New York Times described it as a torture test.
Yeah.
Those guys are tough, right? You could
Yeah.
absolutely see those guys, man. Like anytime Connor Manson steps up to race, he likes to make it as hard as he possibly can.
That's what I'm worried about. It's like I like I like Connor Mance's odds to mix it up with a lot of these guys in this one, but I don't want him to do anything stupid.
You mean like you don't want
I
Connor
don't want
Manson
him
to
to
go
be
out
able
with
to
like the
lead or-
leaders and like end
Yeah.
up paying for it?
No, I don't want him to be the one leading. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what
You want
yeah,
him to
yeah.
pick them
if he's
off.
if he's attached to them,
I don't
that's
think
fine.
I don't think he would be the one leading. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like
He might pick him off.
if it was the
late.
Manchester
Yeah, he
Road
might pick
race,
him
I'd
off
say
late.
yeah, he's probably
Sure.
gonna lead it.
Yeah.
But these
But-
guys are smart. Like they've got good energy with their group. Like Ed Eyestone's a great coach.
Yeah.
Like I think they're gonna have a plan. And maybe he's feeling a little squirrely and wants to go, but I think that he'll remember the mission. And the mission is like, delayed gratification here. Like we don't really need to go out and prove we're the toughest in the first 10K of this
Yeah.
race. Like I think that
the
they'll
final
make
10K.
Yeah, it's a final 10K. And it's also the downhills. It's
Yeah.
not just like there are very punishing uphills, but they're going to be coming back and there's going to be a lot of junk in the legs. And so all of these men need to have that reserve of I've got to have muscular endurance here as well. So accounting for that early, I think they're going to make a good plan.
There's been so much talk about the uphill, right? Like it's like, oh, that 1 mile uphill. Dathan said they're not going to go sub 8 on that. Like all this stuff. The downhill after that,
Immediately after that is going to beat the shit out of your legs.
If you're not prepared for that, like, and especially it's like, okay, just get through the uphill, get to the downhill, and like let's go from there. It's like, no, the downhill could be tougher on your body than the uphill.
Yeah. So you have 1,400 feet of 1,400 feet of elevation gain, 1,400 feet of descent.
What's the weather? What's is it gonna be hot? What's the weather looking like?
It's hot for the women.
If it's raining, that would be.
That'd be set. That'd be ideal. Yeah.
8 a.m. 79.
Oof. What is it?
Oh wait, nope. Sorry, it just changed. That was completely wrong. 8 a.m. 62.
What is it at 9 p.m.?
At 9 p.m. 64. At 10 67.
Oh my God.
Chris
is like, okay,
what about
now
my
let's
run?
talk about my marathon race.
No, I'm not gonna give it to you. It's in Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at 62 at start time. By the time they finish, it's going to be between 67 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny.
What about
and
night?
sunny.
No,
What about 9
what
p.m.?
about 9 p.m.?
9 p.m. Chris,
It's
don't be
hot, dude.
sweating. 79.
Oh, what?
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Realization.
Yeah.
He's like, are you
Yeah.
serious?
There's no way.
They can't be at
10.
9
Yeah,
p.m.
wrong.
11. I mean, you're not getting below 70 degrees on this bed.
Oh my God.
Oh, that you haven't factored that in.
I haven't hydrated at all today.
You
Oh
haven't
my.
really.
You've been
eaten
walking
either.
a lot, and you've had
I
4
got
glasses
some-
of wine.
You've had
dude.
one of.
Some nude
You've had one of the
bags.
most.
Had
You've
4
had one of
glasses
the.
of wine and no
He hosted
food.
a wine tasting today.
You did.
You must have had the strangest build up.
Yeah.
You're not eating at all. You're not.
Hasn't run.
Hasn't really run.
Hasn't
Just
run.
worked nonstop.
For
But
wine.
maybe this
Water?
is the
What's
secret.
that?
Maybe this is the secret. Like, what if
If you
you
end
go
up
out
running
there and
really
pull
well-
out something crazy? Like, you got to be making notes
Yeah.
just in case this really pays off.
Do you want us out there? Like, do you want
I
us
need-
out on the course?
I need you guys to hold down the podcast tomorrow.
Should we do it on
Sure.
the course?
Uh-oh.
Sure.
Chris is like, I might just tune into the podcast. It's
Yeah.
like, no podcast tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
And then after that, I heard there's no tracking on it, so I'll share my location with you guys.
That'd be
so
great.
you
yeah,
can-
we
so we can
should-
see it moving.
I was thinking we should do like
Yeah.
a live, like a
Cross.
podcast of like, and we're
Yeah.
just giving up
Where's Chris?
the
So
Chavez tracker.
instead of calling Paulie throws, we're just calling Chris.
Oh, speaking of-
live on the course.
Speaking of, do we have him on the line?
We haven't talked about the 1500 yet, though.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
1,500 for tomorrow. All right.
But wait,
Paul-
sorry, men's marathon as well. I
Yeah.
need to get in the Aussie
Yeah.
Oh,
real
yeah, get in-
quick.
get
I
in-
need
yeah,
to.
get
He's
in-
a fan
get in
favorite.
Tiernan. Yeah, I love that guy.
You're talking about cross country strength and like a guy that's a grinder. I'm not saying he's going to medal, but I could see him being a top 12, 15 guy tomorrow for sure. You talk about guys that are popping, Tiernan will pick them off.
Yeah. Oh,
he
yeah.
will pick. He won't race ahead of himself either, Pat. He's really smart. I can't see him getting ahead of himself and like doing anything crazy. I think he'll be our first Aussie, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he finishes far higher than if
agree.
it was a flat,
I agree.
dead, quick course. Like
That
this
man
will
is a grinder.
Yeah, this will suit him to a T. So I'm pumped to see what Pat can do tomorrow.
I've seen that man take himself to
To
the
the
twilight
well.
zone
Yeah.
in Tokyo 2021.
Oh, yeah,
That
well,
was
Classic. That was
We
a-
talked about it,
Yeah.
and in
But he was
Eugene.
famous.
He was like, so
famous in Australia for that.
so everyone watched it, and it was like he got this really weird reputation of being like, what a battler, like Pat Tiernan, like gave it everything. And then he was talking to us on the pod. He's like, it was actually pretty fucked. I was really unwell. He was like, my family couldn't get a hold of me. Like nobody knew if I was okay. He's like, and I got back to Australia, and every night on the news was just Pat's race. And they just kept showing it. He's like kind of grim watching it like
Yeah.
time and time again. But he'll be fine tomorrow. I think he'll run well.
All right. Do you have predictions?
For the Mara? Kind of want to rock with your Cam Levins take, but
Yes.
I'll jump on board just
All
to
right.
just to support. No, honestly, I
He's
don't.
still running, right?
I don't know deep enough in the men's marathon
Yeah, I
to be
don't-
quite honest with you. Like, I'm not gonna throw things out there to sound smart because I actually haven't probably watched enough major marathoning to know who's really in form. But
Tamarat Tola, Benson Kipruto, Connor Mans. Lock it in.
Bang.
You think Connor Mance has been watching
To
Kenneth
medal?
Rooks on repeat since then?
Lock it in.
You don't have the
I
hat
just
on.
look.
You don't have the hat.
The,
I can't
the
buy it.
Americans are just on fire right now.
Yeah,
how
you
can you,
guys
how can you
are
bet
having
against
great
them?
games, yeah.
And then let's say Connor Mance does medal, and I said like,
You look like an idiot.
yeah, there's like, what the hell?
You'd rather be wrong.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Seguru's in it.
Fucking Seguru's in it too. Damn it. Okay, Seguru second.
All right. What else we got tomorrow? We've got the
Women's 15.
it's non-stop finals, men's high jump, men's 800.
Christ.
That's a
Christ. We got.
I'm getting weird. I'm getting a little sleepy.
Yeah. I'm like, what was that?
Men's 800.
Men's 800.
God. That's a night.
Sajadi.
Yeah, Sajadi
Everyone's
looks
talking about
unbeatable.
Sajadi. I think he's probably the favorite in most people's book. I got to be there because the Frenchman, it's going to be going nuts in
Parisian
there.
push.
I think he'll get. I think he'll get a medal.
This Hoppel medal.
I think Hoppel will be very close. I think if he, I think he's going to be right in that the board, like
He
third or
wants gold.
fourth. He wants gold. Everyone
I hope
does.
so.
Um,
I really hope so.
I think he can get on the podium. Gold, I love. Like that's bold. Love that he's saying that. There's just 3 141 guys in there. And they all look really good. Sajadi
He looked.
just looks. I mean, he does look unbeatable. I think. I mean, well, you'd never say that. Oh, Hoppel can't get a gold. He would just need to. The race would need to play out in a very bizarre way. I think for that to happen. I think he can get that. I think he can get a medal. I think let's say those guys all because they're all those guys, 141 guys, and Hoppel, they are going for the gold. If they come back, if they're dying, Hoppel absolutely can be there in the right position. He's always tactically sound. He's always making the right moves. He doesn't really have bad races, off races. He races consistently well. I mean, he had that record streak while he was at Kansas in the 800, which was unbelievable.
World indoor champion.
Undefeated world indoor champion. So, and I mean, you only get world indoor medals if you're very sound tactically. So he absolutely can get a medal. I just think gold is it's just a tall order.
Yeah.
But he can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think another guy to keep in mind is Marco Arop.
Yeah.
He looked so good in his semi as well. The Canadian world champ last year. So, yeah, I mean, it is a crazy deep field. It's hard to, like, you almost can't write anyone off in these games because, like, not all of us had Cole really in there, and then he comes through and wins that 15.
Some of us
yeah,
had
no,
Cole in
except
there.
unless you're a prophecy like Aisha over here who called it to perfection, which was still incredible. So I'm pumped to see what your picks are for this, but you can't write anybody off. But yeah, I mean, Sajadi looks near on him, unbeatable. And to me, the only guy that can get there is Tual with this Parisian push, and he has run 141. He's raced him. He did those back-to-back races, I think Paris and Monaco, and missed obviously, but still ran 141. So, anybody on their day, but I think Sajadi's going to be damn hard to beat. Yeah.
His last 50 is
Oh.
otherworldly.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I'm going to go Sajadi, Hoppel, Wanyoni.
Ooh, you think Tual misses altogether?
I do.
Okay.
I do. The French athletes are getting the Parisian push, but I think maybe it's a bit too much.
It's so much. It is a lot.
It's a
Like
lot of
pressure-wise.
pressure.
A lot of pressure,
Yeah.
and it is. It almost feels overwhelming. It really goes one way or the other, right? Like you either ride that wave or you just like let
Yeah,
it
or
drown
it's
you.
too much.
We'll be there, right? So it's gonna be a hell of a race to watch.
Yeah.
They're gonna be going absolutely bonkers for him. I'm gonna go Sajadi. To all Hoppel.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Then women's javelin throw, women's 100-meter hurdles, men's 5K,
Forgot about the men's
Oh my
5K.
God, the men's 5K.
women's 1,500 meters.
There's too many races.
That is a crazy.
That's a
night.
crazy.
My
day.
head's
Holy
gonna
shit.
pop
and
off.
Wow.
the 4x4s to close it out. All right.
I forgot about the 5K.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Jakob
Shit.
versus Grant versus
Gaberwet.
Gaberwet versus is Salman Borrega in there or no?
I don't. I
No.
didn't. See, I don't know.
No,
He's
no,
not in there.
he's
I'm gonna go. Jakob. Jakob Brega.
Yeah,
No, Jakob.
Brega.
I'm gonna go Jakob Gaberwet, Grant Fisher. I think that Jakob is gonna be damn near impossible to beat. I just think he's just so good in the 5. He the way he moves at the end of races, like he's effortlessly running so hard. He just is incredibly strong shifting gears at the end of a 5K. And I think he's very hard. He's going to be really hard for these guys to get around. But also now that I'm thinking about, like, if the Ethiopian strategy is just to run hard from the gun, I don't know about this Gaberwet thing, but
Stick with
If
it.
you had to,
I'm just gonna stick with it. He's a 12:30. He's a 12:30. You can't really go that wrong with
Yeah,
a 12:36 guy.
yeah.
And I think Grant Fisher. It's just that's the fun of like he's on fire. He like after that 10K, after seeing all the Americans do what they've done. I think he just looks great right now. I think he can absolutely get a medal in this.
Does Jakob season's best?
No.
What is his season's best?
13, 14. 13,
13,
14, 36.
No.
That's the first round time.
Yeah.
He didn't run a 5K this year. He got in off world ranking.
He didn't run 13-14 in the first round. No, they ran like 14-14. He must have run
Isn't
13-14.
that might be European.
He must have run
no,
13-14 at
Norwegian
your
champs.
Norwegian
there
championships.
it
Yeah,
is.
where
Yeah,
he beat,
because I'm
where he
looking
beat
at
that one guy.
Nordos.
Yes, yeah.
It's just
oh,
behind him.
Nordas?
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
Right? Shit, he'll be up there too though. I think, yeah, like, right, runs 13-14. Like, no, that doesn't mean anything to me. Definitely still the favorite. Could run. It could be 12:40 tomorrow. I still think he's the guy to beat. But it's gonna
Yeah.
like, who are the other, like, obviously you got your boy Stu.
Yeah, I hope Stu does
Stewie.
well. Yeah, I hope he does.
What about the lone Ugandan, Oscar Chalimo?
He's got to put on for that country.
Yep. He's PR'd this year.
Yeah.
12:54.
He gets it's tough because, like, you know, he's always running with Kiplimo, Cheptegei, two
He's
of
in
the
the shadow.
absolute best in the world, time and time again. So, but he has run great races. Yeah, 12:54, nothing to joke about.
Oh, I forgot about Edwin Kurgat.
That's right. You made that.
Yeah, because he looked really great at their trials but that was at pre, right?
Yeah, at pre and at their
Yeah,
trials.
and at their trials, and looked really great in the London Diamond League, taking the lead in the 3K with 3 laps to go. I think if there's a chance it's slow, I think he's going to the front to try to wind it up. But I would say Jakob for the win.
Yeah.
Gaberwet second. And third is kind of a toss-up for me, so I'm just going to throw Grant Fisher in there, just riding high off 5s.
Love
yeah.
it.
No, I think they're all pretty solid, to be honest. Hard to bet too much against that Jakob's race for sure. Has had plenty of time now to recover. Like, should have all that, well, not all of it, but a lot of that gunk out of the legs now. And I think no matter how the race is run, given he has more time now over this 5K, like, it's not as intense as the 15 where it's like, shit, he has to get out hard, or if he sits too long, like, he leaves too many kickers in it, like, he can actually back his kick to be one of the best in a race like this, which is such a benefit for him. So he looked good in the heats. Like, I think he's actually more of a 5K guy, and he's shown that on a world stage multiple times. So I expect him to come away with a gold. To get an Olympic gold here for him would be huge, and would be really good for him after that 15, because naturally, like, the expectation was for him to win and to come away with 4th and then bounce back and then win a gold would be, like, I don't think his legacy took any sort of hit with that 4th, but it would really cement this, like, oh, he's capable of racing, like, whenever he needs to race. So yeah, it'd be cool. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean, it's like the same thing that happened last year at Budapest, right? Like, he
Yeah.
lost the 15 and comes back and dominates the 5K. So I think this is it's like he's not a stranger to bouncing back after
No.
a tough loss at this World Championship stage. So another man, this tomorrow is going to be an absolutely crazy day.
Crazy day. Cool.
Oof.
Yeah,
Over.
22-man field,
How many
right?
people
I'm going to
fall?
say over one. Max it over under 1.5 falls.
Over.
Yeah, I say over.
Oh.
I'm gonna say
George
under.
Mills is in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That
Yeah.
guy's horizontal more than vertical. Yeah. That should say enough in and of itself.
Chris is like, are you crazy? Obviously, there's going to be a bunch
Yeah.
of falls, bodies on the
I
ground.
do both.
Don't talk too loud. He might come beat us up.
I think,
Love
I'm
you,
gonna say
George.
I'm gonna say under. I think they're gonna stay on their feet. I think, because of that, there might be a little bit of
Like RG
these guys are now thinking, okay, there's no. You can see a guy like Mohamed go down and miss out in the final. That might have a lot of guys thinking, look, let's make this a bit faster, a bit quicker. We don't need to kill ourselves. Like these guys can run a lot faster than they did in the prelims, and they're still jogging.
And the Ethiopian Federation's like,
And
hell
the
yeah,
Ethiopian
brother.
Federation's like, this is why we run really hard.
Yeah.
We do not let it get to this.
All right, 1500 final. This one
loaded.
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 Oh man,
Yeah, I mean, you
I
can
don't know
make
how-
you,
yeah,
you can
it's
make
like-
an argument.
there's
for
so many
so
athletes
many
in this.
athletes in
but
this
is
field.
Is the thought process here that, like, is everyone just thinking like this is crazy to decide the medals, but like, do we still feel that Faith is like the odds-on favorite
Yes.
for gold?
She has to be the clubhouse leader
Right.
still for sure.
yeah, I
Like,
would say she's
Yeah.
the favorite.
is there some form of vulnerability?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, are you as confident now as you were before the game started? Probably not. But she's still the favorite. Like, she's still the world record holder. She's still Faith Kipyegon. Like, there's no scenario where if she is to be beaten, where it's easy. Like, it's gonna be an absolute grind if you're gonna knock her off.
She's unbeatable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She's
You think
unbeatable.
that's-
Full stop.
Yeah.
Kenyan trials, she ran, 14:41 in the 5K. The next day she runs 3:53 at altitude in Kenya. Like, I do think, yes, maybe vulnerable in the 5K because she's had some setbacks this year. But she's the world record holder. And I've said this a million times, but just the muscle memory of championship race after championship race. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's not someone who's going to go out too hard. I think the women's 1500 can be slightly different than the men's because I do think it's more honest.
Yes.
We saw a very honest race on the men's side
That's
this year,
rare.
but
Yeah.
it is rare. And I think you see more often than not the fittest person on the line typically wins.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think Faith it's going to be very tough to beat her. And if they do, it's going to be like coming down right to the line. I'm going to say Faith Kipyegon, Jess Hull, Nikki Hiltz, or Ellie. And I think that I do think Faith will win. I think that second and the silver and the bronze can be either of those three athletes. It's really tough for me to be like, Nikki's going to beat Ellie or Ellie's going to beat Nikki. It's just like, I know Jess looks great. I do think Jess looks really good. She's run incredibly fast this year. I am a bit. And again, I've talked a lot about how the athletes who ran 356 or 355 to get into this final are probably going to be feeling that, and we'll see how it is. Like, Jess looked really good in that 355. Same with Nikki, but still, that definitely takes a toll on you whether you think it does or not.
I think I'm leaning Faith, just because she just threw down the world record not that long ago. Plus, definitely making up for the disappointment and how everything was handled with the 5K. So it's extra motivation there. So, yeah, you're dealing with a lot there. So Faith, to me, I think will probably go three-peat. Very impressive. No one, I think, has ever done that before in the 1500. And then that's where it starts to get crowded. I'm with you kind of on, like, all the names you rattled off. Only other one I would probably throw in there is Georgia Bell's.
Georgia
like,
Bell.
her momentum right now is next level, where sneaking in a bronze medal finish would be insane, but not a total shock given how this Olympics has gone for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to bet against Faith.
You gotta go.
I mean,
You
I'm
gotta do it.
obviously gonna rock with Jess pretty hard, and
gold.
I get the 355 sting out of the legs, but I also get having run a 5K before a 1500. So Jess has
2 5Ks.
2 5Ks, and the emotional toll of like being silver medalist, not silver medalist again, coming back the next day to face the heats. Like this is the first time her body's had a day break really to adjust, and like I think maybe there was one actually between the heat and the semi, but still like that's so many days of racing. And if there was already some form of slight vulnerability, if there was already this trickled down thought in her head now where it's like, I know that Jess can she can come with me. Like on a fresh day, I can get her. I'm not fresh. To me, I really, really rate Jess's chances. Like every step she's taken thus far in these championships has been a positive one. And I've never seen her more primed to win a major medal and maybe even a major gold. So I'm going to say Jess. I think Jess wins. I think it then rolls to Faith, and I then think it might be Nikki in third. I think that Nikki has the potential to have that Jess moment of shattering a lifetime best. I really don't think their best is at that 355. I think their best is in the low 350s. And if that race is fast, Nikki has proven time and time again this year that they're capable of rolling with that pace and finding some more. It's hard to say that, like, on paper, Tsegay should be right there. Like, Gudov Tsegay should be in that medal conversation. Is just that tonight, yep, she closed in 59. That's going to take the sting out of it. Like, there's probably too many things going against her. So, yeah, give me Jess to Faith to Nikki would be the three.
I like that.
I love it. And people would love to see Jess win as well. She and Faith are like beloved in the 1500 meter community. It would be wonderful to see either of those two.
Who's hated? No,
We're not going to go there. Unsubscribe.
He's like, well, yeah.
I mean, that's for after the pod.
Yeah.
No. I'm very similar to Eric here. I think there is one scenario that I wouldn't like to see, and that is just going with Faith, burning out a bit, and then just hanging on for bronze. I would like to see a silver for Jess. And then I really think we're looking at Nikki, Ellie, and Georgia for bronze.
Yep.
Nikki has the kick. Nikki has a really big tool chest, but let's not forget that Ellie did lead the almost entire U.S. trials 355 race. So I don't know. It's really, really rolling the dice, but I'm going to go Faith, Jess, and then Nikki, Georgia, or Ellie. I don't want to commit. I mean, I don't want to make enemies, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Georgia Bell, truthfully.
Wow. I mean, yeah, her momentum's been crazy over the last, you can't even call it the last month. Her momentum has just been wild. Like, not too many better builds into the Olympics than what Georgia Bell's had. That would be great. And UK athletics would be celebrating. Imagine they had Keely and Georgia Bell medals in distance. I mean, they would probably then go back and justify their selection policy and be like, see, it works, even though it's crazy. But I mean, whatever happens, it's going to be a hell of a showdown.
This
it's
might
going to
top
be
the men's race.
Yeah, no,
truly.
I agree.
In fireworks, I cannot wait for this.
Yeah,
this field is so stacked. I mean, we're not talking about Welteji, Deriba Welteji. She's run 353. We're not talking about Laura Muir, who is just a
So Laura Muir was the other one I was curious
athlete.
on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't really look herself.
Yeah,
necessarily in
it's
the
not like
round.
She hasn't
Laura
been,
Muir of
she hasn't been
2017.
so convincing in
Yeah.
these rounds where you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, have to put her in.
Yeah, I mean, this is an all-time field. This is the moment for the 1500. I mean, on both sides, it's just incredible to be witnessing this moment in history, and I get emotional thinking about being able to watch this in person. I mean, this is going to be truly incredible to behold.
Yeah, we've been lucky these games.
And tomorrow is probably like the most exciting day.
You go like how does the schedule, like what events coming
yeah, what's
first? What's
last?
I know the 4x4 is last.
4x4s are last, and I think
Yeah.
this is right before that.
Second to last.
God.
Yeah.
So what, the 5Ks before this?
Yeah, it goes high jump, 800 javelin, 100-meter hurdle women, 5K, 1500, and then the 4x4s, ending with the women.
Wow.
I think my plan is going to be I'm going to be in my full race kit in the stands,
It's crazy that
Chris is
missing
this.
and then I'm going to go
yeah.
straight to the starting line from the race. Got some tweeting to do tomorrow.
Yeah,
You
you,
do.
bet
You've
your
been
you
very
bet your
busy on
ass you
Twitter.
I
do.
feel like concerned for your health and safety,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you're going to do great, sweetie. It's going to be so
Please
good.
share your location.
Yep.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
your,
Yeah.
Can't
Well,
stress that
actually,
enough.
In the grand
get your
scheme of
nails
things,
done.
I still haven't
we
even
got
picked up my bib.
polythrows.
I haven't picked up my bib yet. I think
Is he on the line?
We got polythrows on the
I will
line.
admit-
Oh my God. How long have we had him on the line for?
Oh, he's
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Paulie.
man.
Wow. All right, Paul.
Get him on.
Get him
Yeah.
on.
And
I
we
had
have
no
a
idea.
really
See how I
pressing
tidied that
question
along?
before we start.
Oh, yeah.
Before we start
Hey, well done.
thanks.
the recap, we have a really pressing.
I think- I
question
wonder
for
if he
Paul
can check
Rose.
this for-
Mental fortitude there.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Paul.
Oh, I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Good.
Jim Dandy.
Did you catch that email that we read before?
I did.
Do you know the answer?
Done.
I mean, pretty much it is just a couple guys out there trying to do their best.
So that's it. That's what it is.
Way.
It's I believe so. I double checked with the World Athletics rule book after I realized I was going to be asked about this, and they specify where you measure it from. It's from like the nearest point of the implement that lands. You round down to the nearest centimeter, but they don't say anything about actually like mark. It's literally just a couple guys out there with a stick, and then the laser measures it off the stick. And yeah, so human error definitely could come into play. Like they have video review for like foot fouls and stuff inside the ring. I don't know if they would ever use that to like correctly measure a throw or not, but
Think about it.
I believe it's kind of just the officials out there trying as best as they can.
All right. That is
Wow.
wild.
That is wild. Learn something new.
Okay, Paul. So yesterday we didn't get a chance to chat with you, but on Twitter you were tweeting up a storm about the men's javelin throw competition. The press conference that we put up on our YouTube channel has 1.3 million views because we had winners from Pakistan and India. How big of a competition was this for you?
Chris, I've been waiting to talk about this all day. So this was maybe the best javelin competition in history.
What could have
Arshad
been
Nadeem
better?
of Pakistan. Well, it depends on how you judge best, because there have been some competitions where three guys have thrown over 90 meters. You know, you got like Jean Zelezny's world record competition. This was probably the deepest because we saw the best ever marks for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place. We were 9 centimeters off the best mark ever for 4th place. But Arshad Nadeem won this one. He comes out in round 2 and goes 92-97, shatters the previous Olympic record by almost 2.5 meters. And, you know, javelin records are kind of weird because of all the model changes they went through in the 80s and 90s. So, like, if Jean Zelezny had more Olympics with the modern javelin, he would probably have that record a little further, but whatever. It's still a crazy mark. He's number 6 all time now. And then he comes and doubles back in round 6. He's got the competition wrapped up, throws 91-79, I think it was. So he now has the 2 best throws in Olympic history by a mile. And then Neeraj Chopra takes silver. It's his second best throw of his career for the guy that's been the most consistent javelin thrower in the world for the last 4 years. And he lost by 3.5 meters. Because that is just how insane of a day Arshad Nadeem had. And Nadeem it's very strange because there was a tweet that got some traction last night where basically he has zero funding from like Pakistani athletics, if that's even a thing, because I think he's like their only somewhat notable athlete here. And so it was like his community and like his village basically raised the funds for him to go to Paris. But he literally never competes. Like, this is a guy that was a Commonwealth Games champion in 2022, I believe. He took silver last year in Budapest. He's now an Olympic champion. The Paris Diamond League was his first Diamond League meet ever. And last year, the only meet he competed in was in Budapest at the World Championships, and he won silver. The year before, he opened his season at the World Championships in Eugene. I think he finished like 5th or 6th. And then he only competed at like Commonwealth Games, Pakistan Championships, and then some other like regional championship. So he literally only competes at championship level meets. And so it's kind of hard to gauge what kind of form he's in. But apparently he found lightning in a bottle last night. He said he thinks he could go 95 plus in the press conference. And it was just so much fun. They definitely heard me talking on the show the night before about how there haven't really been any historically far throws in the last 2 years.
They're listening to you, Paulie.
This was the farthest throw since, I believe, May 2022. It was just incredible. And if I'm allowed to go on a Eric Jenkins-esque tangent right here,
go for it.
I want to use this to talk about how insane Johannes Vetter was in 2021, because in 2021, Johannes Vetter threw over 90 meters, 7 meets in a row to start the year. And he threw better than this mark 4 meets in a row with the best mark of 96.29. And then there were issues with the runway in Tokyo. He went out he didn't make the top 8. And then, he's been dealing with a bunch of injuries since then. And it just, this throw has like driven everyone crazy. And like, this is insane. And I'm not saying this at all to disparage what Arshad Nadeem did last night, but it just makes me miss Johannes Vetter so much more, because like he was doing this with semi-regularity. And it's like, I want to see someone throw 96 meters again. That's my soapbox moment. I miss Johannes Vetter. He had elbow surgery a couple weeks ago, and I hope he can come back fully healthy, because when he's healthy, the sport is much better.
I love that. And I hope he comes back just for you. All right. Today, we had the heptathlon final. So we didn't get an update from you at the halfway point, but how did this competition unfold? Little heartbreak for Anna Hall, ended up finishing 5th.
Yeah, Anna, I mean, she really pushed like every ounce of effort she had out of her in this one, I think, given she had surgery in January, after some kind of lingering issues throughout most of last year that flared up a little bit in Budapest. And then she's just been getting better and better and better, like every single meet. And I think this performance was exactly 1 point better, I believe, than what she did at trials. And, it stinks because this all had to happen in an Olympic year. But I think next year she's going to come back with a vengeance. And I think we're going to see her maybe back in the form we saw her in Gotsis last May, where she scored 69.88. She's still really young. Like, she's still one of the best talents in the world. And that 800 was one of the most interesting things I've ever seen, because she went out so hard because she knew she had to if she wanted to find a way on the podium. And she ended up fading a little bit, but she inadvertently dragged the like 6 women behind her to PBs. And so it, just kind of didn't work out in her favor. But like 5th place at the Olympics, given everything she's had to go through this year, is still incredibly impressive. But the gold did go to Nafi Thiam of Belgium, and she becomes the first multi-athlete ever to win 3 straight Olympic golds.
Wow.
Maybe Ashton Eaton would have got there if he didn't retire early, but we don't mess around with ifs here. So Nafi Thiam is the first one to ever do that. She's just so good. And she was one of the ones that had that massive PB in the 800. Just a really solid competition throughout from her. Katarina Johnson-Thompson was also incredible in this one. She had like, I think, half a meter PB in shot put. and her previous PB came from 2019, I think it was. She did really well in the high jump. I think she had her best mark since like 2018 or something there. She also set a PB in the 800. So really great competition, and their battle for first and second throughout the whole meet was really fun to watch. And then bronze goes to Noor Viets, who it was like close between her and Anna coming into day two. But then she hit like a 4.5 meter PB in javelin today, which was crazy and really unfortunate to see as an Anna Hall fan. And then she was another one that got dragged to a PB in the 800. So she ends up coming away with bronze. It's the third time in Olympic heptathlon history where two women from the same country have landed on the podium. So great couple of days for Belgium. Not as great of a day for Anna Hall, but she'll be back.
Real quick, because it's 2 a.m. here in Paris, and we have a marathon to watch in the morning. Yeah. Triple jump men's competition. All three guys who medaled were Cuban at some point. And what else? I guess just hit us real quick with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was expectations were high after what we saw from Jordan Diaz-Fartun and Pedro Pichardo in Rome for the European Championships in June. And it was going to get even better because Andy Diaz-Hernandez, who ended up taking the bronze here, he was like officially cleared to compete for Italy, I believe August 1st. So he's been Italian for like a week. And now he's only the third Italian man to ever medal in the triple jump at the Olympics. Yeah, it is a very funny situation where you kind of have a Cuban sweep, but also none of them are representing Cuba. They were asked in the press conference, like, what do you think Cubans would think of this? And Pedro Pichardo wasn't there, which was kind of sad because him and Jordan Diaz-Fartun had some very spicy exchanges on social media after European Championships. And Jordan and Andy just kind of looked at each other. We're like, I don't want to answer that question. And they answered in Spanish and it wasn't translated, so I'm not sure what they said. But using my 2 years of high school Spanish, I think they said something about like the people would be proud. So I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it was a really great competition. One of the furthest third place finishes in history. It was a 2 centimeter win for Fortune. Jaden Hibbert, really unfortunate because he didn't even take a jump last year in the final in Budapest. He ran through on his first attempt and then retired. And he was in good position. I think he finished 2 centimeters out of the medals on this one, but it was his 5th jump, I believe. He kind of pulled up after the hop phase and was grabbing his hamstring. And he's been dealing with some injuries early on in the season. So it was really unfortunate now to have this same thing kind of happen to him back-to-back years. But I think he's still only 19. I think he might be turning 20 sometime in the fall. So he's going to have like probably 3 or 4 more Olympics to compete in. So it's unfortunate, but by the end of his career, it will just be a sad little blip in the past.
All right, your last one, women's shot put.
This one was wild. You started off with Chase Jackson, reigning 2-time world champ. She won bronze at World Indoors in Glasgow, but she was dealing with an injury that she picked up in warm-ups. She doesn't make the final. She fouls her first 2 throws, and then her third throw, it just didn't come out of her hand well, and it was like 17-something. She finished, I think, like 19th in qualifying maybe, so that was pretty surprising. Pretty surprising is an understatement. It was really sad to see because she didn't make the team in Tokyo and then wins 2 world championships. And then in her first Olympics, she doesn't even make it to the final. And then you get to the final today. And of course, it's pouring like 5 minutes before the final starts, which is the same thing we saw happen in the men's final. And I'm just so mad at the weather in Paris right now because they hate shot put for some reason. And that really affected, it got better in the later rounds, but in the early rounds, it really affected world indoor champ and silver medalist from Budapest, Sarah Mitten, who came in as the world leader with 2068 that she threw back in May. And, you know, she had, I believe it was 2 fouls. It was the same situation we saw from Chase Jackson in qualifying, where I think she fouled her first throw, and then her last 2 throws just were not that great. And so she ended up in dead last in the final, which was shocking. If you would have told anybody coming into this that neither Chase Jackson or Sarah Mitten would land on the podium, they would think you were clinically insane. And if you told them Gong Li Zhao also didn't make the podium, like you're getting shipped away. So this was just a very kind of topsy-turvy competition. Jada Ross, NCAA champ, was leading for the first round, which was awesome to see. She put out a 1928 bomb in the first round when the conditions in the circle were still really terrible. But then you ended up with Yamisi Ogunleye of Germany, 6th round. She was a couple centimeters out of first place. She goes 20 meters on the dot to move into first. And so she was second to last in the order. So there was just 1 throw left for Madison Lee Weshie of New Zealand. And Weshie is really interesting because she doesn't necessarily always have like the biggest or the best throws, but including her PB of 1986 today, she has now set a new PB in Eugene, Budapest, Glasgow, Paris. She is like the epitome of a championship performer. She finally gets her first medal today. She wasn't able to move back into first in her 6th round, but she hangs on for that silver, continuing the impressive tradition of Kiwi shot putting that Valerie Adams started. It's the 5th straight Olympics now with New Zealand shot putter on the women's podium. Oh, I didn't even mention Raven Saunders also finished in 11th in the final. That was also pretty surprising because a lot of people had them as a dark horse medal candidate. And then the bronze ends up going to Song Jiayan of China. Absolutely butchered that pronunciation. I apologize. But, you know, really great competition from her. This is her first medal ever. I think she's been at every outdoor champ since Doha because the Chinese shot putters don't really compete indoors, so they didn't go to Belgrade or Glasgow. But she's been at every outdoor one since Doha. This is her first medal. And, you know, if you would have told me coming into this final that 1932, I think it was, landed on the podium, I would have been very surprised. But given the conditions, you know, the fact that we still got 1 20-meter throw out of Yemi Ogunleye today was still very impressive. And even if the marks weren't necessarily there, it was an incredibly exciting comp nonetheless.
All right, Paul, I think we were finally all caught up with all of the action from the past couple days. We've got 1 more day left. Big finals tomorrow. We'll check back in with you on the last day.
All righty.
Take care, Paul.
Love it, Paul.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right. That does it for another edition of Torch Talk. 2:14 in the morning. We're wrapping this thing up.
Jesus
1 more day to go.
Eric turns to me and goes, "What time is it?" I said, "Have a guess." He goes, 1:30. I'm like, "Dude, it's 2:05." It's 2:05. It can't be.
I'm like, you're fucking kidding me.
All right. On that note, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I may not, but these guys will.
Oh
You
yeah,
should still be running right
we're
now,
running the
dude.
show tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
charge.
Sick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Us and Paul, we'll be calling into Paulie. We're like, guess what?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Chris is dead.
His location has not moved
Yeah,
for a few hours.
Alex, you have anything to say about him?
He's like,
Well, in
crazy. You could have told me
2021
that at the start. Like, I wouldn't have believed you. Yeah, I believe it now.
All right. On that note, have a good night, everyone. J'adore l'athlétisme.
L'athlétisme.
Atletismo.
The Tisma. I'm always way too late to it.